There we go.
All right. Welcome to tonight's information night. My name is Kirsten Conrad, and I am the Agriculture Extension Agent for Arlington County and the City of Alexandria. And on behalf of Leslie, and who's going to be talking to you a little bit later, who is our Master Gardener Program Coordinator, and our many volunteers who are here tonight to help tell you what this new experience is going to be all about, I'd like to welcome you to this session tonight. We will have plenty of opportunity to ask questions about that come up, while we're talking, and of course we will right here in the Farlington Community Center, where you can reach us after tonight's presentation if you have something that comes up while we're talking. So Virginia Cooperative Extension is my the program sponsor for the Master Gardener Program. And the Master Gardener Program got started in Washington State in 1979. And in 1981, it was already well established here in Arlington County. And we are still growing and growing and growing after all these years. And it's really a great thing that you're going to see tonight about how Master Gardeners do the work that they do in the community and how we make people's lives better. These pictures here, by the way, are of two of our demonstration gardens. The picture on the left is of our shade Quarry garden in the Barnard Park. And the picture on the upper right is in the Glen Carlin Library garden. So we have an award-winning program here. And you can see here, these are just some of the awards that this program has won, and some of the people in this program have won. 2016, we've got the then president of the Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia Association accepting the George Mason Green Patriot Award. And of course, the 2019, we got the Best of Arlington Award for the best free gardening advice. And that's a fun category. Of course, we do most of our work at no additional charge to recipients who live in Arlington and Alexandria. 2021, the Alexandria Pickering Environmental Award was given to Joyce Hilton, who's been a longtime volunteer in our program. 2022, we had Sunny and Shade Garden awards for the Arlington top environmental awards in Arlington. And of course, in 2015, Judy Funderburk, and in 2019, Elaine Mills both received the same Parks Volunteer Award for Arlington. We're very proud of these accomplishments, and even Leslie Fillmore has received a Program Coordinator Award in the past. So the extension program here that the Master Gardeners are based in and on is the Agriculture Natural Resources Program. That's the Agriculture ANR, Agriculture Natural Resources Program. And we do our work mostly in the area that is encircled in yellow. And so this is landscape BMPs, things like how do you compost and do waste management, urban agriculture, how do we help people grow food, how do we help people understand about fertilizer applications, and of course environmental sustainability, which had to do with the use of native plants and the reduction of pesticide usage and so much more. So my program is larger than this, and so we're going to be learning a lot more about this as we go along. But what Master Gardeners are doing, they're basically working in three main program areas, but they also help out with youth and horticulture. The 4-H program here in the VCE office has a robust program doing youth leadership development. And of course, school gardening is something that we work on with the Friends of Urban Agriculture program. Protecting the environment is part and parcel of the Sustainable Landscape Management program. And again, as I said, this also includes fertilizer use, pesticide reduction, mosquito control, advised tick, and things like that. So it's a lot of really good things that we're doing to help people. Some of those things include educating the public about how to live with wildlife. You know, it's a very important concept that we share with our important value that we share with Arlington County, that we protect the environment and protect our green spaces and shared spaces, and learn how to live with the squirrels and the foxes and even the deer, which is sometimes problematic. We do, VC does support for the Forestry and Natural Resource Master Plans. And in that, we have partnerships with the tree stewards of Arlington and Alexandria. We have partnerships with the Arlington Regional Master Naturalist. We do education about tree canopy coverage. We have an important project called Small Trees Make Big Canopies, which is harvesting small weed trees and growing them on to provide native trees to residential homeowners. Do lots of work on lawn conversion and native plant public education. And of course, one of the big things is teaching people how to live and garden with shade. So we can have our trees and our vegetable gardens too. The Master Naturalists are a partner organization that I oversee as well. We do a lot of work. The Master Gardeners work with Master Naturalists on Audubon at Home. Many of the Master Gardeners are involved with a program called Planting Over Natives. The Arlington Native Plants Nursery is always in need of assistance from Master Gardeners and Master Naturalists. We have partnered with natural resources and conservation education in Arlington and Alexandria for a long, long time. And this is important work that helps provide us with better places to live. One of the important services that we offer the public is our help desk, which you're going to be hearing more about later on. This is a place where people can bring ticks, mosquitoes, plant disease, any kind of insect, and even just plain old, what is this plant, to our offices at the Farlington Community Center. These are pictures from our microscope there where we identified ticks and many other things as well. The Urban Agriculture Program, we partner with the Friends of Urban Agriculture in Arlington, or FUA for short, and we have done a lot of work in this area to help support community gardening, help support fruit and vegetable production in urban areas. Soil fertility management is a big one. We have a class coming up in August on that topic. Irrigation and water conservation is also key, as well as managing stormwater. So an overabundance of water and underabundance of water is an important management tool for urban gardeners. We support the Arlington County and Alexandria solid waste reduction plans by teaching folks about composting and how they can manage composting on their own properties, or to recycle that carbon material back into the soil to help improve the soil. The training that you are here interested in learning more about is, very expanded. We learn about basic botany. We do plant ID and taxonomy, woody plants and herbaceous plants. Lots of information about entomology and insect and the kinds of weeds and other kinds of plants that you'll find here in this landscape. You'll learn about perennials and how to propagate them. You'll learn about landscape design and how to use those plants in the landscape. We hope that you'll learn a little bit about lawn management, as well as how to get rid of the lawn in your landscape. The nuisance insects and household pests, which we get asked about on a daily basis here in our help desk and our plant clinics, are going to be something that's going to become very important parts of your learning. Being an extension volunteer, Leslie's going to talk a little bit more about this too, but we have a lot of structure in place for extension master gardeners, not only to help them enjoy the experience of being a volunteer, but also to protect them and to help make this a good experience for everybody. We do have a lot of reporting that we do about your work. And most of that responsibility, while the individual reporting falls on our individual volunteers to oversee We also do reporting to Arlington County and the City of Alexandria about your accomplishments and the service to their local program areas. Certification as a Master Gardener volunteer will take you all the way from training through 3 levels of the program, from trainee to intern to certified Master Gardener. It's a really fun program. Community recognition is huge, and everybody knows about what Master Gardeners do. So I think you'll have a fun time while you're here. The Master Gardeners in Northern Virginia have a plant sale once a year, and as you become more involved with the Master Gardener program, you'll want to possibly join the Association of Master Gardeners, which do a lot of work to help support the training that we do, as well as the actual education programs out in the community. The volunteers of our program on an annual basis donate somewhere between 15,000 and 19,000 volunteer hours per year. And this is an important number because the county and the city both look at that and they see the value of what we're doing. And so one of the things that we help our volunteers to do is to make sure that they are getting the credit for the hours that they're serving. And especially the hours that they spend learning and expanding their skills in this program, in the training, as well as every year afterwards. We have a very robust and award-winning social media program that spends somewhere around 4,000 hours a year doing the work that they do. We have help desk plant clinics, demo garden hours that you are going to be involved with as part of your internship. And of course, we do many of community special events as well as site visits when we go out to gardens, to community gardens, to neighborhoods to help them with tree problems, to help them with vegetable gardening questions and so on. These are just a couple more pictures here about the pictures from our help desk. It's so much fun to see what people bring in and what we're surrounded with. Today, I spent 3 hours out in Loudoun County looking at spotted lanternfly. And this is going to be the year of spotted lanternfly education. And we're not looking forward to that invasion, but it's something interesting. Last year it was the cicadas. But we have one important book called the VCE Pest Management Guidebook that will help you to make pesticide and other control recommendations in addition to your textbooks. And you will have a whole bag full of learning materials, textbooks, resources that you can use in your training and way beyond your training as well, if you choose to become part of this program. Plant disease, plant ID, pest ID, these are all part and parcel of what we do as part of our work here, along with education about native plants, trees, lawns, and so forth. We have demonstration gardens, a bunch of them that you will learn about, and some of your training will actually take place in those demonstration gardens. We have, what's going on here? I keep advancing side, I'll keep my hands off. Buddy Ford Nature Center in Alexandria, the Quarry Shade Garden, and the shade, well, it keeps wanting to advance without that. But our demonstration gardens are you controlling that, Leslie? In Arlington and Alexandria, at Farlington, at Potomac Overlook, they're spread all over the place. The community special events that we do, including the county fair, are coming up. And this is an important place that we can become more visible to the public. And of course, there are lots and lots of benefits to becoming a Master Gardener that we want you to be aware of. And some of the folks that are on here today will tell you more about what they find to be the most important benefit to being a Master Gardener volunteer. We have a lot of fun. This is a picture from a training class of a few years ago where we visited everybody's home. Not everybody, some people wanted to participate. And we went there and we looked at plant problems. We looked at landscape design issues. And we developed a lot of friendships and camaraderie in the course of the training and even afterwards. This is a picture of the crew at that usually does the plant clinic at the Old Town in Alexandria. And during the off season, they gather together to have breakfast. So I'm going to stop right there. This is my my contact information, and we're always here at the Farlington Community Center. We would love to have you join our program. So thank you for coming tonight. Leslie, you're muted. Leslie, you're muted.
All right, I think we're all set up here. I'm Leslie Fillmore. I'm the program coordinator for the Arlington and City of Alexandria Master Gardeners. And so one of the things I'm mainly involved with is the helping to run the training program and getting to know and helping keep our interns going forward through their internships. So when I started, I used to often overhear people saying that when they joined the Master Gardener group, they really had no idea what they had signed up for. So I really do want people to understand what they have signed up for. So that's why we're going to kind of go over some of this information tonight. And I'll also walk you through the application process. One thing I do love that even though these folks said they didn't know what they signed up for, 10 years later, they're still with the program because they just enjoy the people and the work we do. So it's a wonderful group to be a part of. I'd like to start by talking about the phrase Master Gardener Volunteer. People get excited about that word master in there. You know, I'm going to master all of the gardening knowledge. And when I finish this training, I'm going to know everything there is to know about gardening. And anybody who's gone through the training is kind of laughing at this point because they understand it's one of those cases where the more you learn, the more you understand you have to learn. And so it's a wide world out there. So I wouldn't say any of us have mastered gardening. And not only that, but continuing education and continuous learning is a huge part of our program. It's in fact one of our program requirements. The second word in that phrase, gardener, of course, is probably why most of you are here joining us tonight. You know, you want to do gardening, you love being outside, working in the dirt. That, of course, is also a huge part of our program, but I'm still not going to go and say that that's the most important word in that phrase. We love experienced gardeners, but we also take people who are not experienced gardeners. So that does not make a difference in your application. We take, you know, people of all different gardening levels. And we're not just interested in your gardening abilities. We're also interested in other things that you might bring to the program for us. So are you talented in web design? Are you a graphic artist? Do you have finance experience? Those are all things that we want to know about when we're selecting people who are going to help improve our program. So the main word, which might be evident here, is that you are signing up for when you sign up to take this training is volunteer. Some people overlook that point and they think, wait a minute, did I sign up to be a volunteer? Yes, that is what we're all about. When you sign up, you're agreeing not to just take the knowledge that you're learning, but to also share it back with our communities. And so that's what we're really looking for in people who apply, people who want to volunteer with us and give their time to make this a better program. So, all right, we're gonna move on. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about what our fall class format will look like this year. It's going to be similar in many ways to the past two hybrid programs we ran in the past two springs. We will use what's called a Canvas learning platform. And this is the same, it's like a website system, and it's what our schools have been using. I have a son at Virginia Tech using Canvas. I had a son in elementary school last year using Canvas. So it's basically a website. It has a menu. You can see pictures of it at the bottom. There's like a menu on the left side. We have a home page. And then every week we have a module, which is on the right there that you can see. And the module contains all the information you'll need for that week. It lets you know what topics we're covering, our class schedule. It shows you what quizzes you need to take care of and such forth. So a typical week is going to involve watching 2 of our pre-recorded subject matter presentations. They're usually about 2 hours each, so you're watching 4 hours of recorded presentations. The benefit of that is that you can work it into your schedule however it works for your schedule. All right. Each week you'll have about 3 to 5 hours per week of reading. So there is a lot of reading. We get a really extensive Master Gardener handbook, and you'll read through that entire thing over our course of 11 weeks. We also have weekly quizzes, so it really is a lot like going back to school for kind of like a brief semester. Unlike our spring training, where we met on Tuesday evenings via Zoom, this time in the fall, we will be meeting in person at the Farlington Community Center from 12 to 2 to kind of cover our class business, to do our Q&As. You'll do things like give a short 3-minute presentation on a frequently asked question, and you'll be able to ask questions of our topic presenters. So I do want to emphasize that attendance is required at these classes. So if you knew in advance that you were going to miss like 2 or 3 classes, then we would ask you to wait to sign up for the training when you know that you're going to be available for those. So you see the dates listed there. And we also have 3 planned field trips. It's great to get out in the gardens and see where you'll be doing some of your internships. It's also fun to learn certain topics in a hands-on manner, like propagation really lends itself to being outside and kind of pulling the plants apart and learning how to make them into many plants. And we will also have a spring pruning practicum, we call them. That will take place in the spring, but we just want to kind of get it on your agenda. When we finish classes, it's not really a good time to be doing pruning, but pruning is a very important topic for us, so that is rolled into our training. All right, let's talk about the application process. So in the spring, we had a very large pool of candidates, and many of them were qualified, and we couldn't take them all. So we have 13 of those candidates that have accepted positions into our fall training spots. And this leaves about 9 or 10 open class spots for our fall 2022. I do expect some of those 13 will maybe fall out before we start class in the fall. So we can't really give you exact numbers, but that's kind of what we're looking at. And our application process is a little compressed this year because this is our second class. So you will have, I will open the application process tomorrow, and you'll have until July 13th, so 2 weeks, to submit your application. And I do want to emphasize, the sooner you submit it, the easier it is for us. So if you can get them done sooner, that's great. If you're going to be out of town for 10 days and you can't get it into the 13th, that's fine too. Once we collect all the applications, we're going to review them to determine who goes forward for interviews. And if you're accepted for an interview, we'll do that in the second half of July. And then we plan to notify people by August 8th if they have been accepted into the class. So the first thing that everybody who applies needs to do is either attend this presentation or watch the recording. So you guys are all one step ahead by having been here with us tonight. So you're on the right path. All right. The application process has 2 parts. There's an online portion and a hard copy paper portion. So I want to emphasize that both of these portions will need to be submitted before we review applications. If we get 40 applications again. Last year, I did actually have cases where some people submitted one or the other and then decided not to finish applying. So we want to wait till the application is complete until we review it. So the paper portion involves a questionnaire, a volunteer agreement, and a scholarship application form. And you can either submit those by scanning them and emailing them back to me, or dropping them off at Farlington or mailing them. And when I send out the email tomorrow, I'm going to send it out to everybody who was here tonight. It will have all these instructions in there. So you don't need to worry about trying to copy down my email address or the address or anything there. I do need to let you know that if you are selected to attend the class, you'll be given instructions on how to pay for the class. You'll have about a week to take care of that once you're offered a spot. Our cost is $255. We're only taking applicants from Arlington and the city of Alexandria, so we'll all have one cost. And we definitely do have needs-based partial scholarships available. We don't want cost to stop anybody from applying. So if that is something that is important to you, then we highly recommend you submit the scholarship application with your application. So, all right. All right, now we're going to look at the online portion of the application. Again, when I email you tomorrow, you'll have a link that will be provided to reach our volunteer management system, which is called Better Impact. And the first thing you will do there is you will enter your general contact information. There are small flags next to some of the fields, and those are required fields. So if you're trying to move on and it's not letting you, check and see if you have an empty box where there's a little flag. There's also a little symbol on there that looks like an eye surrounded by a box. That's a symbol you can click on for more information, and it kind of describes things like our standards of contact. I'm sorry, our standards of conduct. All right, the next part of the online portion is your general availability. And I want to emphasize, this is to kind of just give us a general guideline of when folks might be available, so we can plan to have opportunities open that work for our volunteers. It does not tie you into it does not commit you to any time frame. Like if you select Monday mornings, that does not mean that all of your activities will have to be done Monday morning. So that's just kind of giving us a ballpark idea. The next two sessions under additional information are about you and experience. You do not need to fill that out online. You can skip those two portions. We have a questionnaire that you'll be completing that gives you a little more room to add more detail there. So you can skip that so you're not duplicating that effort. We do ask you to fill in references and demographic information if you want to. I believe that's optional. For references, I got some questions on that last year. And I just want you to know it can be coworkers, it could be bosses, but it can also be friends, neighbors. If you know an extension master gardener, then we would love to know that. So extension master gardeners make great references. And let's see, you will also agree to a voluntary background check, which is a state requirement for us, and agree to our standards of conduct, which I just mentioned. All right, for the paper portion, we'll start with the all-important questionnaire. So this is really our opportunity to learn about you. We're giving you enough space here that you can take some time and fill that in. So give us some good amount of detail. We want to know about your gardening background. Again, I emphasize if you're just new to gardening, that is perfectly okay. We are just as happy to have people that are new to gardening. Volunteer experience. Have you been a volunteer for some other programs? That's always good information for us to know. Your non-gardening skills. I mentioned that we also love to put our volunteers' non-gardening skills to use. So we love to have writers, photographers, people who know how to use websites. Public speaking is a strongly desired skill for us. We have a fabulous public education group, and we're always looking to expand our public speakers. Another thing is to, if you speak another language, that can be very helpful too. So I do want to emphasize that the questionnaire is kind of your place to shine. This will be the thing that we look at first and foremost to determine who's going to go forward to the interview step. All right, you will also read and sign our volunteer agreement. Kirsten touched upon this. So again, I think I mentioned already that we want everyone to plan to attend all the class sessions. And the other thing we want to let you know is that you are agreeing to complete your internship as well. So some people breeze through the classes. It's all very scheduled for them. You attend, you work really hard over that 11-week period. And then sometimes we end up losing a few folks in the internship because they need to schedule it themselves. So that can be more challenging. It's another 60 hours. So it's a real commitment, and we want you to understand that before you apply to the program. All right. You'll spend during your internship, you'll spend 20 hours in our demonstration gardens. I do like to clarify what have weekday commitments and what have weekend commitments. So demonstration gardens have opportunities to work hours at both weekends and weekdays. Our Extension Master Gardener Help Desk, you have a 9-hour commitment there, and that is a weekday commitment. So even for our folks who work, we ask them to come in for 3 mornings over the course of a year. So you'll come in with the fall training class, you would come in one morning in the winter, 1 morning in the spring, and 1 morning in the summer. So that is a weekday commitment, but we hope it's minimal enough that even folks who work can work around that. Our plant clinics are open on weekends, and we have a Wednesday evening plant clinic that has opened back up. And your intern projects, the projects are very, very variable. And so you can pick a project that will work for your schedule. So in 2017, we had intern projects that were focused on public education. So interns did research on a particular topic that we wanted to kind of have more speakers on. And we also have projects that are based on kind of the current needs of our organization. So our spring trainees, we had some people that were working on signage at our organic vegetable garden. I have some interns joining me to learn how to facilitate for our Friday public Zoom classes. And we have an intern who's doing a display booth at the county fair. So there's a lot of variety there. Some of our interns that are joining us now might share what they are doing currently. Now, once you complete your certification, you have some annual commitments when you're a certified master gardener. And so once you certify, you will complete 20 hours of volunteer time a year and 8 hours of continuing education. And most folks usually feel by at that point, after they just did a 60-hour internship, that 20 hours is very reasonable. And of course, we have many volunteers who put in so many more hours than that, but that is just the requirement. So, okay, that's the volunteer agreement. All right, so you may be asking yourself at this point, why, after all these rules and regulations, this complicated application process, why would I want to be an Extension Master Gardener volunteer? I will say I do love being part of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Master Gardeners is one group under the VCE umbrella. We also have 4-H volunteers, Master Finance volunteers, Master Food volunteers. So there's several groups that are out helping our community in different ways. I want to share some quotes with you really quick about what some past master gardeners have said. We had a master gardener in the class of 2006, and she said, I kind of shared this earlier, I didn't know what I was getting into, but I stayed when I saw the amazing things this group was doing and because of the wonderful people here. So that's typical. In 2016, we had an intern who said, after getting involved with this group, I went home and told my husband, I found my people. So I think there's a lot of us that feel that way, like we found our people. And so it's just a wonderful, today I was sitting through a public education meeting, and they're very long. But I thought to myself several times during that meeting, I thought, we are just blessed with people and their talents that they are sharing with us. I mean, I'm sitting this long drawn out meeting, yet as people were talking, I was just like, wow, I kept thinking to myself, we are so lucky to have these people in our organization and contributing, to making our program so valuable to the community. So I just love being part of this group. It's good to come to work every day for that. So, all right, next we're going to turn it over. I'm going to have a couple Master Gardeners talk to you about areas where you'll be spending some more time, and then you'll meet some of our current interns or recent certified Master Gardeners. So I'm going to turn it over next to Elaine Mills, who was one of those people in the meeting today that I was thinking how blessed we were to have. Elaine is from the class of 2012, and she has her primary interest is in sustainable gardening. She's created a fantastic set of resources for us on our website called the Tried and True Native Plant Fact Sheets. She spent well over 10 years photographing native plants in public and private gardens that she shares in her presentations. She's a part of our social media committee. She writes posts for educational posts for Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. And she is also, on top of all that, she is one of our lead coordinators at our Glen Carlin Library Community Gardens. So she's gonna just give you a quick overview of the demonstration gardens.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Welcome, everyone. As Leslie mentioned, 20 of the 60 hours required of you as an intern for certification will be spent in the demonstration gardens. There are 8 of them for our Arlington, Alexandria unit, and they stretch from up in North Arlington all the way down to Alexandria. The purpose of the gardens is really to showcase plants that do well in our region and best gardening practices in a variety of different settings. But we as Master Gardeners, of course, learn a great deal there as well. The way you would be participating is to join as your schedule permits, either on weekdays or weekends, at the various work parties that are held by these demonstration gardens. They generally run about 2 hours long. So if you participate in 10 work sessions over the course of the growing season, that would earn you the 20 hours of certification. So just to give you a really quick whirlwind tour, looking at the slide there, furthest north in Potomac Overlook Regional Park is the organic vegetable garden. They grow an amazing variety of crops, including even berries, asparagus, and edible ferns. You'll learn about raised beds and container planting, rotation of crops, cover crops, composting processes, all done without pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Moving a little further south at Bon Air Garden, Bon Air Park, next to the Rose Garden, there are 2 demonstration gardens. The Sunny Garden is right off of the parking lot, and it showcases a variety of plants, perennial shrubs and trees, mostly for sun, although there are a few plants tucked into the shade. They have a lovely archway with American wisteria and some really attractive tower-like trellises with vines growing on them. Then several hundred yards further down the path in the woods is the smallest and oldest of our gardens, the Quarry Shade Garden. It's built on a series of terraces, and there you'll see a lot of ferns and wildflowers, and even in the heat of the summer, when a lot of the flowers have faded, beautiful evergreen ground covers that do quite well in shade. Moving a little further south, just south of Route 50, surrounding the Glen Carlin branch of the library, I'm proud to be one of the coordinators there. Our garden's a little different because we have a built environment with a patio, lots of seating with benches, and a gazebo. We have a variety of garden rooms, including a very sizable herb garden, a tropical garden, an Asian garden. We are very interested in sustainable landscaping, showcasing climate conscious gardening practices, and many native plants as well. Then moving to the Farlington Community Center, where you'll be doing your training. We have 2 gardens, a pocket-sized garden, the Tribute Bench Garden, which honors Master Gardeners past, present, and future. And then tucked into a back courtyard there is the Small Space Garden, which demonstrates the use of both edibles and native plants for folks who can only grow on patios, balconies, or in containers. Then in Alexandria, Simpson Garden is in the Del Rey area, right next to the YMCA. That's the largest of our gardens with 13 different garden rooms. There's a shade garden, there's a flagstone garden, a scented garden, and one of the highlights is a water-wise garden. And then finally in Alexandria, the very newest of our gardens is a pollinator garden that's being resurrected at Buddy Ford Nature Center. And this is a project undertaken jointly with our master naturalists. So lots of very interesting places to work. And we would encourage you to try volunteering at each of those different gardens because they're all so unique. What I've loved about the program since the very beginning, especially, is working in those demonstration gardens, because that's a chance where you really get the sense of the community. You're meeting the garden leaders, but also some very experienced master gardeners who will take you under their wing. And of course, you'll have a wonderful chance to bond with members of your own class. So I encourage you all to apply and join our wonderful community.
Thank you, Elaine. All right, next up, we have our help desk.
So the help desk is one of my favorite places to learn. Every day we see something different, something new. The service is open to the community where folks can email us questions, they can email us photos, they can walk in with their plant samples. We serve about, I believe it's 1,200 to 1,300 people per year. At this unique service that is located in the Farlington Community Center. One of the things you can see in the photograph are the 2 microscopes that we have. These are connected to the computer, and we can take photographs with those microscopes and send them away to Virginia Tech, where we are supported in our work by the fabulous entomology and plant disease specialists that they have at Virginia Tech. And so this is something that that you as a Master Gardener intern may love. The people who work here regularly do love this for their learning, for the opportunities to learn new things every day. And as an intern, you would never be doing this by yourself. You know, this is something that we think we take very seriously as a teaching opportunity, and we want you to learn the ropes and learn them well. So this is a really great opportunity if you live near Farlington and you enjoy coming in to do this kind of thing. It's also indoors. It operates year round from 9 to 12 on a daily basis. Every weekday we are there, and we are back to doing in-person operations. And during the pandemic, we were doing it remotely, and there were 5 individuals who staffed this community service for nearly 2 years by themselves. So this is really a wonderful place.
Anne was one of those volunteers for us. All right, next up is our plant clinics, and Scarlett's going to jump in. Scarlett is from our class of 2019. I call this the beleaguered class because they completed their classroom work, and then right as they were moving into their internships, everything started closing down. So Scarlett had to work extra hard to get in her plant clinics. That was a real challenge because most of them had closed. The demonstration gardens were closed for a while. So she is just an incredible volunteer, just one having accomplished, getting through an internship in a challenging time. She's also a regular at our Buddy Ford Nature Center demonstration garden. She's also on our board and serves as the secretary. And she is also a co-leader at the plant clinic at the Farlington Market. So she's going to talk to us a little bit more about what happens at the plant clinics.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you to everybody participating tonight. I'm excited that you're interested in being an Extension Master Gardener. I'll do this backwards and tell you that I love being an Extension Master Gardener. It has introduced me to my people, as some people like to say, that we all love plants, we all love the natural world, and we're doing our best to get that knowledge out there, how to make this world a better place. So I wanted to talk to you about the plant clinics, and as you can see, there are several of them. And what is a plant clinic? it's good you heard about the help desk. Think about a help desk in the farmer's market or at the library, because that's what we are. We set up our tables, and unlike the clients that come to the help desk or email or phone the help desk, we get a lot of drive-by, people that see us, and it's a great opportunity to talk to the public and about two people who don't really know that much about what Master Gardeners do. We use it as a way to educate the public about ongoing problems like the spotted lanternfly. We had a lot of information available last year about crepe myrtle bark scale. I'm sure we'll have more of that this year because they're certainly on my crepe myrtles again. And so we get the people that just come by and they weren't planning to talk to you about their gardens, but they see you and they maybe want some seeds. They maybe think, well, I'll ask about these bugs that are on my roses. So they come in, they don't have pictures, they don't have samples. And it's a little bit of detective work about figuring out what exactly their problem is. Is it really your plant or is it your soil? There's a lot of that sort of thing. But we do not have at the plant clinics the same ability to research problems that they do at the help desk. So which leads us not frequently, but often to refer people to the help desk. So we have a card that we give them that says, here's how you reach the help desk, and here's how you take a sample into them, because they have the time to research your problem, and we're here at a table with books and our phones trying to help you out. We have a lot of information on our table in front of us at Farlington. We have a lot of information about container gardening and small space gardening because we are right outside the small space garden. It's just a wonderful way to connect with the public and spread the word about native plants, about less grass, and talk to other people who love plants. And I hope that this doesn't sound intimidating to you, because let me tell you that I never worked at a plant clinic as an intern, as Leslie said. But there was a need for a plant clinic at Farlington, and Ann Reed and I and two other women, we stepped up and we said, oh, sure, we'll do it. We don't know what it is, but we'll do it. And somehow we've managed. And so if we can manage it, you can manage it. It's really a lot of fun. We're a great group. And in closing, I wanted to say that after you finish and after you get certified and you say plant clinics and help, even if it's once a month, a lot of us do this. It's a labor of love, but we love to have new faces there too. Thank you, and good luck.
All right. And we're going to finish off tonight by talking to some folks in our most recent classes. Evan Morrison is a class member. I see Cindy's excited to be here tonight. Evan Morrison's a class member of our spring 2021 class, and Richard and Cindy are members of our spring 2022. So they're in the throes of their internship right now. Evan has certified, and she has been a speaker for us. I just love this story. She came into us with a lot of knowledge, personal knowledge about houseplants, and she did a public education teaching about houseplants. And it was so good that we now use it for our training of master gardeners on the topic of houseplants. So it just goes to show how you can, take your skills and really become a critical member of our group, very quickly. So I'm going to let Evan start off. Evan, if you want to unmute yourself and just say a few words about your experience with the program, let folks know maybe, what was surprising to you, what was your favorite thing, etc.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see you guys again.
Yes. Hello.
It's been a while. So like Leslie said, my name is Evan. I was in the class of 21 and I finished my internship in November. So it's all still pretty new, but becoming a master gardener was something that I'd wanted to do for a very long time, but I do have a full-time job. So I was worried that I wouldn't be able to participate because of the time limitations. But with the way they've structured the course recently with the hybrid learning, I was able to fit it into my busy schedule pretty easily. I really liked the self-guided reading, and the Q&A sessions that follow after each section were really informational as well. And like Leslie said, I actually got to be on the other side of that this year, answering questions about my internship project, which was a public ed class on houseplant care that I did with a fellow MGNB, Becca, also from my class. And you can actually watch that on our website if you guys are interested. So my favorite thing about MGNB is that I think it's one of the most useful organizations you can join. Literally everything you learn is something you can go outside and directly apply to your outdoor spaces. A lot of the courses I've taken have a lot of theory and research that may or may not really apply to you. But everything you learn in this course is local and it's actionable. I felt like every week I learned something that I wanted to implement into my own space. So fair warning, your weekend to-do lists are going to grow, and your garden center budget is also going to grow exponentially. But that's just the name of the game. I was still pretty new to Arlington when I started the coursework. And thanks to COVID, I hadn't really gotten to get out much. But early on, Leslie pairs you up with a mentor and a classmate who you can go and visit demonstration gardens with, and who you can reach out to if you have any questions or concerns. But she did a pretty great job with my pairing, because she basically set me up with my new best friend. So not only is it useful information that you're gaining, but the social aspect is also incredible. And the last thing I'd like to mention is that there is definitely another level of challenge when you're working full time to fit all the internship hours in. I did have to take off a few mornings to do the help desk, and there are other activities and volunteer hours that you're just gonna miss because a lot happens during work hours. But I promise that there are basically unlimited opportunities if you look to find things that fit in your schedule. You just have to be a little more intentional about it. Sign up for things early. That way you have your calendar, you know what it looks like ahead of time, so that you don't get to the end of your internship and think, oh, wait, I'm 2 hours short on this or that. And the other thing that's great about the organization is if you have an idea for a project or a presentation that's going to benefit the community and further the MGNB mission, the group is really excited and open to hear about them and put them into action, help you put them into action. So far this year, I've done everything from planting beans at the organic vegetable garden. I'm a graphic designer, so I've made garden maps for the small space garden that are now on our website. And I noticed Elaine used one in her most recent presentation, so that was pretty cool. And this last weekend, I was asked to start writing articles for our website. So like I said, the opportunities are really limitless. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see some of you guys out in the gardens soon.
Thank you, Evan. All right, Cindy, do you want to go next?
Sure. So it's so exciting to be back on a Master Gardener Zoom call. This is great. So as Leslie may have mentioned, I'm a current intern. So I've just gone through the program and I'm in the throes of fulfilling my volunteer hours. So I thought I would just offer a few thoughts on the class structure, the time commitment, and a few of my own favorite things about the program. So based on my understanding of your hybrid approach to the program, I think you guys will get like the best of both worlds. So you'll get all the convenience of being able to sit down with the pre-recorded Zoom classes when it's convenient for you, but then you get the benefit of meeting in person. Is that right, Leslie? For the Q&A session. So you will get an opportunity to build community with your fellow classmates and the expert presenters each week, but you have the advantage of being able to squeeze in the pre-recorded Zoom sessions and your book learning when it's most convenient for you. So I think that's great. Like you get the best of both worlds. The Zoom classes, I have to say, they feel very intimate, and I found them really interesting and not like boring and hard to get through at all. I think in part because the presenters are so excited about the topics upon which they're presenting that it's very infectious. Like there are some sessions where you think like, I'm not really a vegetable gardener, but I'm going to sit through this and see what it's like. And by the end, you're like, oh, I can't wait to try this, because the speakers are just so engaging and they know their stuff inside and out. I will also say, like, because they are pre-recorded Zoom sessions and there's like a class that's listening to it, you also get the benefit of their questions. Some questions will already be answered, but I guess my little pro tip for those of you joining the program is to jot down your own questions as you listen to the presentation during your own time, because then when you get to see each other live and in person, it's nice to have a list of questions, because it's easy to forget, especially if you watched the Zoom class earlier in the week, and then it's like the next week or whatever, and you're sitting before this great presenter. And of course, Kirsten and Leslie are always great about getting the ball rolling, and they may refresh your memory on some of the topics, but I found, like, later in the program that it was beneficial for me to, like, jot them down, and I was glad that I did that and learned to do that. In terms of time commitment, yes, it is a lot. I mean, I had just retired and was very eager to start this program, but I have like 3 teens. I used to have a very busy, demanding job and worked full time, and there would have been no way that I could have handled the time commitment for this program until I retired. So I do urge you to think carefully about the time commitment, but I think it's fantastic. And I think, again, because you have the flexibility of doing the Zoom viewing and your book learning on your own time, that it's easier, even if you do work full time. Let's see. The favorite part about my internship, I have to say, is just learning so much. Like, I had been gardening for 10 years and I learned some things that actually challenged my own gardening practices, which, you feel this little resistance. You're like, can that be true? And then you're like, yeah, actually they're right. And you do it. And like, I totally learned how to prune in a much more effective way. And it's already benefiting my own garden space. And, you learn these things and it's just amazing. And then the beauty is you're not only learning from these experts, but you're also learning from your classmates. Both in terms of the questions that they ask, which can be very insightful and penetrating. And then also during your volunteer hours, I have to say, like, as much as I enjoyed the book learning and the Q&A sessions and the Zoom sessions, once you get out in the field and you're in the demonstration gardens, at the help desk and plant clinics, I feel like it's an even better opportunity to learn firsthand. When you're at the demonstration garden, you're talking about the plants you're working with, you are side by side with fellow gardeners. And at the plant clinics too, I mean, you just get so many people coming up asking really interesting, insightful questions that even if you don't know the answer, one of your master gardener, compatriots may know, and you just, it's just a wonderful opportunity to soak up all this knowledge that's just really interesting and of course beneficial. So I guess that's all I have to say, except I remember being at this session and being super, super excited about the program. And I continue to be excited. It's everything that you will hope it is. And it's just a wonderful community of people who share a love of gardening. So I hope this has been helpful. And if anybody wants to ask me more questions, I am here for you.
Okay. All right. We're going to have Richard just kind of give us his take on things. And then we will we will take your questions. And I see that there are some questions in the chat too. So Richard, do you want to share your experience as a current intern?
Right. So I too had looked forward to getting accepted into the Master Gardener program. I was thrilled that I was able to get in for this past spring. And it has been a great experience. I've been and really enjoyed the community of great individuals that I've met at various plant clinics, the demonstration gardens, some old hands, some new hands, many people in our class. I call them all my new friends. So my internship project was a total blast. I got to build a hugelkultur garden, which is a mound garden with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders at an elementary school. And we had the time of our lives. And just getting to spend time with kids, and getting them excited about gardening. That was just a cool thing to do. So I can say that it's provided some, Master Gardeners provide some wonderful opportunity. The materials that are generated are just exceptional. I've gardened my entire life, and I've learned more things in this last 6 months than I could possibly have thought. And I've been delightfully surprised by it, and I think you would be as well. So if you can take the time, it does take some time, it takes some effort, but it's well worth the reward.
All right, Richard, thank you. Thank you for summing that up for us. All right, and at this time, I do want to encourage folks who have not checked out our website. Some of the presentations we've spoken about are on there. It is mgnv.org. I love to point people to our public education section and our virtual classroom because we just have such a wealth of knowledge there. So at this time, I'm going to try to let folks unmute themselves and turn on their cameras, and we will stop our screen share and try to see each other. All right. Okay. Name and let's see, I don't know if I can turn on your cameras, but so just we'll start with a couple questions in the chat box that I see. Let's see, we had one. Are the costs one time or are there ongoing fees to maintain certifications? And so it is the one-time cost. So you pay the fee, you go through the volunteer training, and that is, Kirsten, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really the financial commitment at the time. All right, and as I said, I do want to emphasize again that we do have partial scholarships available, so don't let the cost keep you from applying. So we would encourage you to apply and just submit that scholarship request form with your application. All right, Peggy had a question. How long are we required to do the weekly schedule commitment? So the classroom portion of the training is over an 11-week period. It starts September 6th. And it goes to November 15th this year. So that's kind of like where I was describing the weekly commitments about the watching the recorded presentations, the reading, the quizzes. That's over an 11-week period. Let's see. Will we get these slides? Okay. I will, when I send out the application information, it will contain, you were looking for the dates, and it does, I will include all the date information on there for you. Let's see. Is Green Spring Master Gardener a different program? It is indeed. They are in Fairfax County. And so there's, Fairfax County has the Merrifield program and the Green Spring program. They do run a different format from us. So I would encourage you to contact them directly if you're a Fairfax resident and, find out when their program starts, what their format's going to be. I can't remember which one, Merrifield or Green Springs. One of them has a 3-year commitment to.
The Merrifield program is the 3-year one.
All right. Did you tell how many openings are? I did. So it is very limited. So I am sorry to say that. We have around 10 spots open for this fall because we had so many people interested in the spring, and we interviewed over 40 people in the spring. So we're accepting the qualified candidates that couldn't take it in the spring. We invited them to join the fall class, and we had about 13 people who are going to do that for us. So
Leslie.
Yes.
I'd like to go back to the question about the difference between the Green Spring and the Merrifield and the programs here.
Sure.
I would say every county in Northern Virginia has a Master Gardener program. Okay. And we will accept a volunteer from another jurisdiction besides Arlington and Alexandria, but your volunteer hours that you do will be only in Arlington and Alexandria. And so if it's not convenient for you to volunteer in Arlington or Alexandria, you may wish to join a different program.
Yeah. I guess about 2 years ago, we were seeing folks from Loudoun. I mean, we were seeing folks that were far away. And I think because we were offering a virtual program, they thought that maybe they could do it. But the problem is you still have to complete the volunteer time in Arlington and City of Alexandria. All right. Are there volunteer opportunities for non-master gardeners throughout the year? So Kirsten, I'm going to let you address that one.
The answer is yes. It depends. You may wish to become a 4-H volunteer if you'd like to work with children. You may wish, if you prefer working with food and nutrition education or financial education, you can also get involved with extension programs in those areas. The other possibility is that you can get involved with one of our partner organizations like the Friends of Urban Agriculture, tree stewards, master naturalists, and many of them do projects that are associated with extension and with the Master Gardener program. And that's probably the easiest way to be a volunteer, but not be a Master Gardener volunteer.
All right, we had a question. Do we come up with our own projects? That's a great question. So every year we do, you will be presented with a list of available projects. Like I said, we pull the organization kind of around the time we're coming up with those to find out what the needs of the program are. But we also do encourage you, if you have a passion that meets a need for the program, then please do, you have the option to write up your own intern project as well. We definitely have had very successful projects where people have proposed their own intern project, because it's some people want to do hours on something they're passionate about. So we do encourage that, but it does need to meet like if you loved container gardening and you wanted to do a presentation on container gardening and we already have 3 of those, then we're less likely to approve it unless we can come up with like a spin on it that would bring something new to the program. So we don't want to repeat work that's already been done with intern projects, but that would just basically have us or have you kind of like, how can we tweak that? Maybe it's going to be just large vegetables in containers or microgreens or something like that. So you can have input into that part.
Another spin you can put on this is that I always tell our volunteers that you are the eyes and ears and hands in the community. You know what your community needs, and our job as an extension and as Master Gardeners is to serve local need. If there is a special project that you think that nobody is serving, nobody's meeting, and you think that it fits within the role of an extension Master Gardener, come talk to me. We'll figure it out how to make that happen.
All right, then we have a question. Will folks that don't get accepted in this cycle be included in the next round? So we did kind of have a special case where we went all the way through interviews with folks last year. So we knew that we had qualified candidates that we could already accept into this fall program. We're not planning to do 40 interviews this time for 10 spots. So basically we will probably have a couple people that we will create a wait list for. And so basically I would say if you apply this year and we don't have a spot for you, I would encourage you to come back next year and apply. We'll still have your online, the record of your online application and everything, because one of the things we look for in volunteers is resilience. So if you weren't able to get accepted the very first time, but you came back again the next time and tried again, that would be in your favor for getting into the next class. Because we want people who, are interested enough to stick with it and kind of follow through on that. All right. And I think I've covered the questions in the chat box. Does anybody else have a question? I believe you're able to unmute yourself if you just want to ask the question, or you're welcome to put it into the chat box too. All right, I think we have done it. I'm excited. We tried to hone things down so we could get folks off a little bit faster tonight. I really want to express my appreciation for my my Master Gardeners and my interns that showed up tonight to share details and their love of the program with you. It's always, I do think it's kind of a full circle moment when like Cindy and Richard, who just went through the training, are on here and remember their own information night, less than a year ago. So it's pretty fun. We wish you all a good night. Again, I will be sending out to everybody who came tonight. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow that will have the details that you need to complete the application. And you're welcome, if you have further questions, you're welcome to email and follow up with me on that. So that email will have my phone number and my contact details. So we hope you decide to apply, and we look forward to getting to know some of you better in the fall training class. So good night, everybody.
Good night.